Is Christianity untainted by other religions? Does it even matter if it has been influenced? People need to realize that many elements of Christianity are based on other mythologies. Today we will examine how the story of Utnapishtim has influenced the Noah's Ark story. Then we will look at how the Persian Mithras has striking similarities to Jesus. And finally, we will see how Canaan mythology has affected Christianity. So, who is Utnapishtim and what did he have to do with Noah? We should all understand that Utnapishtim and Noah's stories are far more alike than they are different. From excerpts provided by the World of Myth, an anthology of different mythologies, we can see the similarities between the two myths. First off, both stories are flood myths, meaning the world was flooded and life was destroyed. Utnapishtim's story is originally found in the Epic of Gilgamesh, a Mesopotamian tale. The segment of the epic starts with Utnapishtim describing to Gilgamesh how he became immortal. Utnapishtim received a message from one of the gods that a council of gods had decided to flood the earth. He was told by this god, quote, "Dismantle your house, build a boat, put aboard the seed of all living things into the boat," unquote. He brought his household, including his servants, and skilled craftsmen on the boat as well. After Utnapishtim had done what he was told, the rain came. It rained for 6 days and 7 nights. The ark landed on top of a mountain, and, quote, "When the 7th day arrived, I put out and released a dove," unquote. Although the dove did not bring back a sign of life, Utnapishtim sent a raven who never returned, signifying that there was dry land. Seeing that Utnapishtim had survived, the other gods vowed never to flood the earth again, and blessed him and his wife with immortality. The section in Genesis where Noah and the flood are detailed is also recounted in the World of Myth. Again, God has decided to flood the world, but spared Noah and his family. Noah was instructed to build an ark, and, quote, "Of every living thing, of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark," unquote. God made it rain for 40 days and nights. Then, quote, "the ark rested upon the mountains of Ararat," unquote. Noah then sent a dove, which brought back an olive leaf. But Noah sent the dove out once more, and it never returned. Noah and his sons were blessed by God, though it is only clear that Noah received elongated life. Now that we can see the similarities between these two myths, let's look at an earlier Persian version of Jesus. Mithras had a major impact on who we know as Jesus today, and it's important to recognize this. In the World of Myth, in a section about different gods, it hosts an interesting story about this god named Mithras. Mithras originated from Persia, or modern-day Iran. In the piece, Barbara Walker says Mithras, quote, "was a major influence on Christianity until the 4th century CE," unquote. She also wrote that Mithras' cult was, quote, "the leading rival of Christianity in Rome, and more successful than Christianity for the first 4 centuries," unquote. Mithras was said to be born on December 25th, the day we also associate with Jesus' birth. There are several variations of how Mithras was born, but one states that it was a virginal birth, like that of the Virgin Mary. Another claims he was born of a rock that was impregnated by God's lightning. Quote, "Mithras' birth was witnessed by shepherds and by magi who brought gifts to a sacred birth cave of the rock," unquote. This is strikingly close to Jesus' story found in Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 11. When he became older, Mithras performed miracles, such as Jesus did. In Matthew chapter 16, verses 18 through 19, Jesus' apostle Peter was given the keys of heaven. On the other hand, Mithras held the keys because he was born of a rock. Now the connection here is that Peter, according to meaningofnames.com, means rock. Mithras, quote, "celebrated a Last Supper with his 12 disciples," unquote. They ate bread, which later became a sacrament called mizd, or mass. Mithras died and was buried in a rock tomb. He later came back to life, and this was celebrated at the spring equinox. The Last Supper is also found in the Bible, in Luke chapter 22, verses 14 through 20, and Jesus' death and resurrection in Matthew chapter 27 and Matthew chapter 28. Walker describes that, quote, Mithras' cave temple on the Vatican Hill was seized by Christians in 376 AD. Christian bishops of Rome preempted even the Mithraic high priest's title of Pater Patrum, which became Papa, or Pope, unquote. Since we have seen how heavily Christianity was influenced by the Mithraic religion, let's move on to the effects Canaan mythology has had. We should all know that the myth of Eve and the snake in Genesis was influenced by another religion. According to Joseph Campbell, a renowned mythologist, in The Power of Myth, he states that the idea of woman as being the original sinner is something that is only found in the Judeo-Christian religion. Campbell claimed that the reason behind this is that the Hebrews were essentially dismissing the Canaan goddess. The goddess of Canaan was the main deity and was associated with serpents. The serpent, however, was seen as positive. Most cultures revered snakes representing, quote, the power of life engaged in the field of time and of death, yet eternally alive, unquote. Campbell also described Sumerian images of a snake, a tree, and a woman giving a fruit to a man. Yet, because Hebrews believed in a patriarchal religion, they turned the Canaan goddess into who we now know as Eve. Eve became the former goddess, the snake became the tempter, and the tree became the tree of knowledge. Today we have examined how the story of Utnapishtim has influenced the Noah's Ark story. Then we looked at how the Persian Mithras had striking similarities to Jesus. And finally, we saw how Canaan mythology has affected the story of Adam and Eve. People need to realize that many elements of Christianity are based on other mythologies. The next time we hear about or discuss Christianity, we can know that other mythologies have come into play in shaping it. Those mythologies have weight in their impact. It does matter. Perhaps we can even bring awareness of this to others.